by God's grace, we were able to make our first film on really next to nothing.
No, you got to say it. It's all right. I'm not ashamed. I'm proud of because what God did with it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a $2,500 film, but that was our budget, and we're very proud of that. It's just awesome seeing what God can do with so little.
Yeah.
You're looking at the crew for a perfect chord, and our families and our cast to, hold this, and before you come into the shot, hold this. So
there are so many amazing things that God's been doing with Second Greatest that are beyond what we thought of, and not because of what we've done, but because of what He's doing with it. I think just a few that stand out to me was going on the Duck Dynasty cruise to screen the film. That was just awesome.
Well, it was a cruise.
Well, I mean,
the Bahamas.
Yeah. That night we had the screening. We had a lady stay around. It was like 1:00 in the morning when everything got done. But on a cruise ship, that's nothing. But for us, it was late. And she stayed around, and she's red-eyed, and she's like sniffling. She's like, I just have to say, this movie touched me in a different way. My sister was murdered 16 years ago, and I identified with the villain of this film. And she just kind of starts pouring this out, and she's like, I needed this to heal. I thought we were coming on the cruise to like have fun, but I needed this for healing. And thankfully my wife was there to be like, well, we should pray for you, because I was just standing there being like, what do I do? This is not what I expected. And that moment again, God just going, I have something else with this. It's not the camera, it's not the lights, it's not even the story, it's what I'm gonna do with it. The other big moment for me was seeing it in an actual movie theater, up on a movie screen. Yeah. That was awesome.
And buying a ticket, I'll take one for Second Grade.
Right. Seeing it up with the first showing it was up, they had posters for all the films that are being played there and up on our kiosk, and you had Finding Dory and how all these blockbusters, and then there's our poster Second Greatest sitting right with that. It was awesome. That part was definitely a highlight.
A lot of people we're working with are people who've never done this before, and that's another amazing award as well. Just being able to empower people to realize what we realize, that wow, this is I'm passionate about this. Yeah. and I didn't know I could do this.
Giving a place for that, having people that are just like, I've always wanted to, but I never had a place for
I've
this.
never even considered it because it's just so impossible.
And to be like, you belong with us.
Yeah. I think God has taken our few fish and loaves of bread and just made something amazing, and we keep blaming Him for all the good stuff, because if it was up to us and our training and our experience, then it wouldn't be pretty.
Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested Him with this question: Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. We as a church know and strive to meet the first commandment. And we love Him wholeheartedly. But I've got to be honest, we're not very good at the second one.
What are you guys up against? Whew, I don't know how much time do we have.
What's our Goliath?
Yeah. In terms of Kingdom Sight Studios, the company of us as filmmakers, we're up against, we're not Hollywood. We're not we're not doing it for money, so our motivation looks different. I think the perception of being not just independent filmmakers, but independent Christian filmmakers, there's this preconceived notion that what we're trying to produce is not that much quality. It's a kind of a lower quality production for whatever reason. And I think we fight that when we tell people, yeah, we made a movie. How many times do we hear after they watch it, it was good. It looked good. It was good. Like, it was shocking to them that it didn't stink.
We're up against the stereotypes.
Yeah.
There's a financial giant that we're up against, and we're not doing this for money. If we are, then we're in trouble. but you know, it takes money to make a film.
You're a father. You have a full-time job.
Like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I ask myself that. Like, what am I thinking?
Just getting to sit down to write or to work on this film, what does it take?
I'm the music pastor at my church, and love it. A teacher at Two Roads Charter School, love it. I'm also the owner of Launchpad Studios. I do lessons, guitar, piano, voice, and I also do math tutoring. So there's a lot going on there.
I'm fortunate in that I get to go to work and do this. But it's also a very scary place because there's very little security in what I do.
And it's hard. It's hard to juggle. It's hard to give my full heart to all these things, but it's worth it.
One day God just started calling me into filmmaking. And that's kind of the crux of what I have to say, is that he called me into it. I didn't choose it. I actually fought it for a while. I didn't want to take that step because I love movies, but I know how big a process it is to actually make a movie and how addicting that could be for me, and I don't want to go down that path without knowing that that's exactly what God wanted.
It feels like what I was created to do, but I never thought I'd do it.
It's why I'm here. It's why we make movies.
Movies, the visual that we see and the audio that we see, God really uses that to tap into our emotions, and not to manipulate us, but to really open our eyes and open our hearts to what he wants to tell us.
I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, I'm not somebody who's going to stand up in front of a bunch of people and give some great message. This is my medium for that. Turning on a camera, writing a script, working with actors, that's my platform for encouraging other people in the direction of a relationship with Christ.
I was involved in both A Perfect Chord and Second Greatest, with minor acting roles, and then as often as I could to help out with anything I could. But it was just so cool to see something I'm very passionate about and believe that God's going to do big things through the entertainment industry, and people who are willing to step out into the talents and the gifts that God's given them. Just to even know a few others who are involved in that was encouraging, and then to see the steps of obedience that they took, and to hear the stories of God's faithfulness throughout production of both films gets me excited about the high school story.
So we're working on our new project is a high school story. It's a teen comedy that we're working with. Premise for me was always, how do we relate the Bible to youth, to teenagers?
There's this idea out there that the Bible's not relevant in our culture today, especially with our youth, and we're going to blow that theory out of the water. And
it started as, what would happen if Bible characters were in high school? And that premise kind of got us started. But as God kind of said, no, I want it to be more about this idea of if the Bible took place in high school, making it more relatable, not just a single character, but maybe moments, and putting those pieces together, or archetypes of your characters. That's when it kind of really started to click, and it started to come alive more that way.
Our hope is that when people watch not just our movie, but when they watch movies about high school, they're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of David and Goliath. So people will begin to see what happens in their lives in a different way and through the lens of Scripture. That was good.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah, can you write that down?
How much time do you have?
How much time do we have?
Actually, we have to go.
Right. So we have from today to when we've scheduled to start production, a month and a half. It's not enough time. I mean, to be as real as possible for what we're trying to do, it's not enough.
It's stupid.
It really is. I freak out because I don't have enough time to rehearse my cast.
Knowing that we're already crunched for time and budgetary issues and all these different things creates an expectancy in me to see God work.
I think Kingdom Sight Studios is Gideon when we can come to God and be like, okay, I've got my army, I've got all this stuff, this is the plan.
Yeah.
He's like,
let's take a few out of there.
let's make the timeline more ridiculous.
Whenever someone asks us, like, how are you going to get it done? Nathan always says, Jesus.
Pretty much. I mean, I think that's what's scary about High School Story, having such a short period of time to do pre-production. I would like 3 times that amount just to make sure I've covered all my bases, because I don't want to miss something. We don't have the budget or the time to do so.
And to see God get his work finished through people who are just being obedient and filled with faith.
Oh, and the budget you think you could do this under, not gonna have that either. And all of a sudden we're stuck with 300 guys and a trumpet and some lamps, and God's like, wait, wait for it. Watch what I can do.
It's funny because it's just stupid. It's like, but I think that's how God acts, like, oh, let's make it look a little bit more impossible so I can show people who I am. I'm starting to get a little stressed out thinking about it.